Hello and welcome to today's video. Today's video is the results for my June 2019 Monthly Mashup Challenge. So if you're new to my channel or haven't seen my mashup videos before, what this is the first Thursday of the month I post a video giving you guys 10 choices to vote from. So there are going to be things from pop culture like Iron Man, Godzilla, stuff like that. And some of the things will be, like creatures like bear, pig, dragon. So you can see from the title of this video and the pictures around here, the winner for June's challenge is a three-eyed alien from Toy Story and a dragon. So in today's video, I'm going to mash those two together and make one sculpture, the three-eyed alien dragon. Now, if you want to see more of my videos in my monthly mashup challenge, be sure to check the playlist down below called Monthly Mashup Challenge. All right, let's get started on the three-eyed alien dragon. So I've got all my materials ready and my tools. I went ahead and brought up a reference picture of the three-eyed alien from Toy Story, and I'm using my orange dragon as a reference for the dragon portion of it. And I've got my clay ready. I'm using Primo Sculpey as usual. I'm using yellow, and then I'm going to mix that with green for the main body. And then I've got some blue, purple, Twinkle Twinkle, which is the black with the sparkles in it, and some. I'll go ahead and set aside my reference picture and dragon, and I'm going to start with mixing the main color for the body. When I first started this, I thought the aliens were just yellow, but then when I was looking at them, I thought they looked had a little bit of green in them. So I used my color consultant, aka my wife, and asked her what she thought. And looking at different pictures, they do vary a bit. But she, agreed that it looked more like a yellowish green. So I went ahead and mixed up the yellow and green together and got a color I was pretty happy with. So once I have that nice and soft and mixed pretty well, I mean, you can still see some green in there. It's got a little bit of a marble effect, but not much. And then I went ahead and shaped my foil. Now, even though I have a reference sculpture of a dragon, I was thinking more of doing this one as kind of a Chinese dragon or a luck dragon like in Neverending Story. That's why I had that reference picture up at the beginning. I wanted to do one that I thought if it kind of flew through space, it's the three-eyed alien thing, so I wanted it to be kind of like a space dragon. It would, just kind of flow and, fly through space that way, and it wouldn't have wings, it wouldn't need them. Just kind of, flying, with its dragon magic. So I started off, and I wanted to have him more, serpent-like Chinese dragon. And I was bringing him up, and he didn't look quite right. But I thought, well, I'll just keep working on it and see how it is. And I went ahead and shaped his head out of foil, and I'll get that covered. And then I wanted to go ahead, once I've got that smoothed out in my general shape, I want to go ahead and mark the spot for the eyes. Because the most important part of the three-eyed alien is its three eyes. So the next thing I want to do is attach the head to the body. And I did have some problems with it falling over, but I kind of just adjusted it and it was fine. And then I thought I would go ahead and add the legs. Now looking at this, that arc in his back, I mean, it didn't give me the flow I wanted to have. It just didn't look quite right. So I was going to start doing the toes, but I just kept looking at it, and I'm like, no, this isn't going to work. And since I have to have this done for the video, I've got to do something with this. So I've done some other dragons where they've been on all fours instead of on their, back two legs like my orange dragon for reference. So I thought I would bring this one down and have him be on all fours like that. And once I did that, I was really happy with the look. I thought he had a nice flow to him, and it'd work really well to have him in this pose. So since I bent him over like that to get him on all fours, or what will be on all fours, I did have to go ahead and fill in and kind of smooth out some spots. The foil bends really easily, but your clay is going to, create gaps and stuff where it pulls away. So Once I've got that done, I'm going to go ahead and add the little toes to him. And so, unlike my other dragon where they're more points, I decided to make them more rounded to match how the fingers are on the three-eyed alien. One thing that's always fun and challenging when doing these mashup sculptures is trying to decide, what elements to take from which portion of the mashup. And so for this, I wanted to incorporate as many things as I could from the three-eyed alien, but yet still have the dragon shape to it. So it worked really well to do those rounded fingers. And then I went ahead and used a ball tool to add some texture to it. This will get rid of some of the flaws and kind of, hide some of the little imperfections in it, I guess. So I went ahead and attached the head. And then I'm going to go ahead and make the ears. So I did bring up a reference photo here. It wasn't on the screen very long, but I did have a new reference photo that I used for the ears just because I couldn't see them well enough in that first one. So, when you are doing something based on something else, go ahead and, get as many reference photos as you can. And for this one, I had a nice one for the ears. So I went ahead and sculpted those out, tried to get them about the same size, and just had them mirror each other. And then I just attached them right behind the eyes there and smoothed in towards the front. And that way it'll get them to bond to that clay that's already on the head. What's really nice, with sculpting now as opposed to 30 years ago, it's so easy to find reference materials. So definitely use Google as your main source for reference materials. It's great. So I definitely wanted to add the little antenna to the top of his head, and so I just used a wire so it would stay nice and straight while baking, and covered that. Made it a little bit thicker at the base there where it connects to the head, and then I left a little bit of the wire showing so I can make a little ball. And I just took my needle tool to kind of start it so I didn't distort the ball too much when I put it on there. And then I just went ahead and attached that to the piece that was already in the head of the dragon. So I went ahead and carved its mouth. Lots of times when I do my clay dragons, I don't put a mouth on them, but for this, I wanted to kind of match the happy mouth for the three-eyed aliens from Toy Story, and then I added a couple dimples to it. The next thing I'm going to work on in this sculpture is the eyes, and I'm using Primo Pearl for the eyes instead of white, and I do this a lot in my sculptures just because I like the way the pearl looks, and also it doesn't seem to pick up little specks as much as the white does. So that's just a little tip. Let me know what you usually do if you like using white and you don't have the issues with it getting dirty, but for me it seems to be more of a pain than the pearl, so I just stick with that. And then for the pupils, I'm using that Twinkle Twinkle like I mentioned earlier. So it's just black with like glitter in it basically. And so I just thought that would be, a fun thing to use for those pupils, just to have them add a little bit more of a shine to them and kind of stick with that space theme. Now, with the eyes done, I want to go ahead and do the eyelids. I know on the three-eyed alien, looking at the reference picture, you can definitely see their eyelids. The top one seems to show a little bit more than the bottom one, so I wanted to incorporate that into my sculpture as well. So I made it a little bit thicker on the top ones, and then I added just a little bit down below for the bottom eyelids. But once I attached these to the eyes, I went ahead and used my ball tool to kind of smooth them in so they would kind of blend into the rest of the head there, the rest of that yellow-green in that head there. So basically for these, I just, kind of rolled out a little bit of clay and made it kind of an oval shape and then cut those in half. And that worked really well to apply it over the existing eyeball. Now for the lower eyes, I just took a little bit of clay, rolled them out into these little snakes, and then just used my needle tool to pick them up and just kind of place them underneath the eyes there, and then just use the ball tool to kind of just smooth them in a little bit, make sure that they'll adhere nicely when it bakes, and just kind of make them look like they belong there. With the eyelids done, I'm done using the yellow and green clay. So the next thing I'm going to work on are the back plates of the dragon. So I'm using the ball tool to carve little indentions to kind of give me kind of a guide of where I want to put them, and plus I'm able to put them down a little bit deeper into it so it doesn't look like they're just kind of resting on top of his back. I want them to look like they're kind of coming out of his back, like you would see like horns on a bull or something. So for that, the alien's got a blue outfit, the three-eyed alien does. So I'm using blue for these back plates, but I'm going to mix a little bit of pearl with it because I want it to have a shine. And I also thought it would lighten it up just a little bit. I'm not trying to match the color perfectly. I just want to use what, kind of represent that. Now, before I make these plates, I'm using some liquid Sculpey to put in those indentions that I made. So hopefully that will help these plates bond a little bit better to the body, so I don't have to worry about them breaking off after the sculpture's done. So I'm just taking a little bit of the blue and pearl clay, and then just making kind of a triangle shape with my fingers, and then just pushing them in to those spots with the liquid Sculpey in there. Now with the last one done, I did kind of go in and tilt them a little bit, and I had some extra liquid Sculpey there, so you'll see that I use a Q-tip to clean that up. Now the last thing I want to do is make some spots for the dragon. And so I'm going to go ahead and use some purple pearl. So it's already got pearl mixed in with it. And what it looks like to me is the collar on the alien is purple. So I'm going to go ahead and use that color for the spots. I thought about doing a collar on it, but I just didn't think it'd be very visible. So I went ahead and decided I'll go ahead and add him some spots, make him a little more interesting. I just thought it'd be more fun to have a little more details in this piece. So I'm just using that purple pearl for the spots. And then once I have the spots done on one side, I use the ball tool to kind of push those in and match that texture that's already there on that yellow and green clay. Now, with that done, I can move on to the other side and add the rest of the spots. And so mainly what I'm doing is I just cut off some of the clay into different sizes and then roll it out into kind of a round shape and squish it. And that way the spots are different sizes. I didn't want them to be all uniform. So I thought it'd be more fun to have kind of bigger spots surrounded by some smaller spots. And also, even though I put them in the general area on each side, I didn't have the same number on each side. And I thought that would make the piece more interesting as well. And again, I'm going over those spots with the ball tool and adding that texture. So the last thing I want to do is clean him up a little bit. So I'm just kind of touching up his back plates. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some rubbing alcohol with a Q-tip and go over different areas of them that I noticed some specks. That yellow-green clay seemed to pick up a few specks, and I know I probably won't get them all, but I mean, that's just what it is. But I will go ahead and clean that up and then kind of touch up some of the details, and then he should be ready to bake. Now it's time to bake our clay. Remember, always bake your clay according to package instructions. And here is the finished three-eyed alien dragon. I had a lot of fun making this piece. He isn't how I thought he would turn out. You can see in the making part of this video that I did have some challenges with him, but in the end he actually turned out better than I thought he would. I know that's kind of weird to say, but it happens. A lot of the other dragons I've had have been very flat when I've done them when they've been sitting down like this, and because I started him out upright and brought him down, it gave him that arc here, and I think that adds a lot to him. And then just kind of adding just even the tilt with his head and bringing his tail up just kind of gives him a very nice flow, I think. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to vote in July's Monthly Mashup Challenge, be sure to check out the video I post on July 4th. And I'll give you guys 10 choices to vote on then for July's Monthly Mashup Challenge. Also, on July 1st, I will have a very special video for me, or to me, so I want you to be sure to check that out. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching today's video, and remember, never stop creating. Bye.